you ever wondered why almost every ancient tradition holds the number 40 as sacred when it comes to death? 40 days of mourning, 40 days of prayer, 40 days before the soul completes its journey. What if I told you this isn't coincidence, but a profound spiritual truth that Edgar Cayce saw with stunning clarity? Right now, someone you love who has passed is experiencing something beyond imagination. Not in some distant heaven, not in an abstract spiritual realm, but in a very real process that unfolds over exactly 40 days. A process so precise, so consistent that Cayce documented it in reading after reading, mapping out what happens hour by hour, day by day, as the soul adjusts to its new existence. And here's what will change everything about how you understand death. Those 40 days aren't just about the soul who's crossed over. They're about you, about the living, about a window of connection that most people don't even know exists. You're about to discover why your dreams are different in those first weeks after someone passes. Why you might smell their perfume or feel their presence at specific moments. Why certain days feel heavier than others. None of this is your imagination. It's all part of a cosmic process that Edgar Cayce called the 40-day adjustment. And understanding it will transform not only how you grieve, but how you maintain connection with those who've crossed the veil. Great. Now let me tell you more about it, so let's continue. The first 3 days, the sacred hesitation. It begins the moment the heart stops beating, but not in the way you might think. Cayce revealed something that ancient Egyptian priests knew, that Tibetan monks have whispered for centuries, that your grandmother might have instinctively felt the soul doesn't leave immediately. For the first 3 days, 72 hours, something extraordinary happens. The soul hovers, it watches. It's fully conscious but no longer confined to the body. Imagine suddenly being able to see 360 degrees simultaneously, hear thoughts as clearly as words, feel the emotions of everyone in the room. This is the soul's reality in those first 3 days. Cayce described it as a period of divine confusion. The soul knows something monumental has happened but hasn't fully accepted it. It might try to comfort grieving family members, not understanding why they can't hear its voice. It might attempt to touch objects, surprised when its hand passes through. Some souls, he said, even try to return to their body, especially if death was sudden or unexpected. This is why so many cultures have rituals around the 3-day mark. The wake, the vigil, the waiting period before burial or cremation. Our ancestors understood what we've forgotten. The soul needs time to realize what's happened, to say goodbye, to accept its new state, think about someone you've lost. In those first 3 days, did you feel them near? Did the air feel different in your home? Did you have the sensation of being watched, not in a frightening way, but with love? You weren't imagining it. They were there, as real as they'd ever been, just in a different form. Days 4 through 7. The lifting of the veil. On the 4th day, something shifts. Cayce saw this consistently, a moment when the soul finally understands and accepts its transition. It's like watching someone wake from a dream, except instead of waking to limitation, they wake to expansion. The soul begins to perceive beings of light, guides. Some call them angels, others call them masters, but Cayce simply called them helpers. These aren't strangers. The soul recognizes them immediately, though it might not remember from where. They've been waiting patiently for this moment of readiness. But here's what's remarkable. During days 4 through 7, the soul exists in 2 worlds simultaneously. It can still perceive the physical realm, see its funeral, hear the conversations, feel the grief, but it's also beginning to see the spiritual realm in all its vastness. colors that don't exist in our spectrum, sounds that communicate meaning directly, a landscape of pure consciousness where thought creates reality instantly. This dual awareness serves a purpose. The soul needs to witness its own funeral, Cayce insisted, not for morbid reasons, but for closure. It needs to see who comes, hear what's said, feel the love expressed, every tear shed, every memory shared, every prayer offered. The soul receives these like gifts, using them as energy for its journey ahead, and the soul can respond. This is when you might find a flower appearing in an impossible place, a bird behaving strangely as if carrying a message, a song playing on the radio at exactly the right moment. The soul is learning to communicate across dimensions, and in these early days, the veil is thin enough that messages can slip through. Second week, the life review begins. Between days 8 and 14, something profound begins. What Cayce called the complete life review, but not like watching a movie. The soul experiences its entire life simultaneously, from every angle, through every perspective. Remember that argument you had years ago. The soul now experiences it from both sides, feeling not just its own hurt, but the pain it caused. That moment of kindness to a stranger. The soul sees how that single act rippled outward, affecting lives it never knew about. Every thought, every action, every moment of love or fear, all of it plays out in perfect clarity. But here's what Cayce emphasized. This isn't judgment. There's no cosmic courtroom, no divine prosecutor. It's education. The soul is learning, understanding, integrating. It sees patterns it couldn't see while in the body. Why it chose certain challenges. Why specific people entered its life. Why events that seemed random were actually perfectly orchestrated. During this second week, the living often experience the most vivid dreams of their deceased loved ones. These aren't just dreams. They're visitations. The soul, in the midst of its life review, often feels compelled to communicate understanding, to offer forgiveness, to express love it couldn't fully express while in physical form. Have you had one of these dreams, where the person who passed seemed younger, healthier, glowing with an inner light? Where they told you they were okay, that everything makes sense now? If this resonates with your experience, share it in the comments below. These stories help others understand they're not alone in these profound connections. And if you're finding value in understanding this process, consider subscribing. We explore these deep mysteries every week. Days 15 through 21. The Healing Chamber. The third week marks entry into what Cayce called the Healing Chamber, though it's not a place but a state of consciousness. Here, every wound carried by the soul begins to heal, not just the physical trauma of death, but the emotional scars accumulated over a lifetime. The mother who carried guilt for decades, it dissolves. The father who never felt good enough, that burden lifts. The child who died too young, they understand the perfection of their brief journey. This healing isn't passive. The soul actively participates, choosing to release attachments, forgive completely, embrace its true nature. This is often when the living feel a shift. The crushing weight of grief might suddenly lighten for a few hours. You might wake up one morning feeling inexplicably peaceful, as if someone lifted a burden you didn't know you were carrying. That's your loved one, releasing their earthly pain and, in doing so, lightening your load as well. We're more connected than we realize, and healing on one side of the veil creates healing on the other. During this period, Cayce noted something fascinating. The soul begins to remember its other existences, past lives, future potentials, the vast tapestry of its eternal journey. What seemed like the most important lifetime while living might be revealed as just one chapter in an infinite book. This perspective shift is profound. Imagine suddenly understanding that every loss was temporary, every separation an illusion, every goodbye just see you later. Days 22 through 30. The reunion phase. As the fourth week begins, the soul enters what might be the most joyful phase of the 40-day journey. Reunions. But not just with deceased family members, with soul family that spans millennia. Cayce described scenes of recognition that transcend human understanding. Souls meeting and instantly remembering hundreds of shared lifetimes. The enemy from one life revealed as the beloved from another. The child you lost revealed as your guardian, your teacher, your oldest friend in the cosmos. These reunions aren't just emotional, they're educational. The soul group gathers to review not just the life completed, but the lessons learned, the growth achieved, the love expanded. It's like a cosmic debriefing where everyone shares their perspective, their role in the grand drama just concluded. But here's what's beautiful. During these reunions, the soul often sends waves of love back to the living. You might feel it as a sudden warmth, an unexpected moment of joy, a sense of presence so strong you turn around expecting to see them. Between days 22 and 30, the soul has gained enough mastery over its new state to send clear, powerful messages of love across the dimensions. This is also when synchronicities peak. Their favorite bird appears repeatedly. Their name comes up in unexpected places. You find objects that shouldn't be where they are. These aren't coincidences. They're orchestrated communications, the soul saying, I'm here, I'm whole, I'm more alive than ever. Days 31 through 40. The Great Decision. The final 10 days represent something Cayce found in nearly every reading, a period of decision. The soul, now fully adjusted to its new state, faces choices about its path forward. Some souls choose to remain close to Earth's vibration, becoming guides for the living. Others move into higher dimensions of learning and service. Some begin preparing for their next incarnation, though Cayce noted this usually doesn't happen for much longer, sometimes years or decades in our time. But during these final 10 days of the 40-day period, something crucial happens for the living. The intense, immediate presence of the departed begins to shift, not because they love less, but because they're expanding into their fuller existence. It's like a child going off to college, still connected, still loving, but engaged in their own growth and journey. This is often when the living experience what feels like a second grief, the sensation that the person is really gone now. But Cayce insisted this isn't abandonment, it's graduation. The soul has completed its transition and is now free to serve, love, and grow in ways that ultimately benefit everyone, including those still in physical form. The 40th day marks a completion. In many traditions, this is when final prayers are said, when mourning periods officially end, when life is expected to return to normal. But Cayce revealed why. It's not arbitrary. It's the natural completion of the soul's initial transition cycle. The window of sacred connection. Now, here's what all of this means for you right now, especially if you're within 40 days of losing someone. You're in a sacred window. Every thought you think about them, they receive. Every prayer you offer, they hear. Every tear you cry, they understand its meaning. But even more importantly, they can respond. Not always in ways you expect, but in ways you need. That sudden knowing that they're okay, that's real. That dream where they seemed to be teaching you something? They were. That moment when their favorite song played and you felt surrounded by love? That was them, using the language of synchronicity to say what words cannot. If you're beyond the 40 days, months or years past a loss, don't think the connection is severed. The 40-day period is just the initial transition. After that, communication changes, becomes more subtle, but it never ends. Love is the only thing that transcends all dimensions, all time, all space. When you think of them with love, they know. When you need them most, they're closest. What the living must understand. Cayce emphasized something crucial that most people miss. The quality of the 40-day transition depends partly on the living. Our grief, when it becomes despair, can hold souls back. Our inability to let go can make their journey harder. But our love, our prayers, our acceptance of their journey, these become wings that help them soar. This doesn't mean don't grieve. Grief is sacred, necessary, healing. But understand what your grief is. It's not for the departed, who are more alive than ever. It's for yourself, for the physical presence you miss, for the future you planned that won't unfold as expected. And that's okay, that's human, that's part of your journey. But know this, every moment of joy you experience, they celebrate with you. Every step forward you take, they cheer. Every time you choose love over fear, growth over stagnation, life over mere existence, you honor them in the most profound way possible. If this knowledge is shifting something in you, take a moment to leave a comment. Share the name of someone you're thinking about right now. Sometimes just typing their name, acknowledging their continued existence, helps us process these profound truths. And please, share this video with someone who needs it. Someone in those 40 days. Someone grieving. Someone who needs to know that death is not the end, but a transformation. The practices Cayce recommended. For those in the 40-day window, Cayce offered specific practices that help both the departed and the living. First, the evening candle. Each night, light a candle and spend 5 minutes in silent communication. Don't plead, don't despair. Simply share your day as you would if they were sitting across from you. Then listen, not with your ears, but with your heart. Second, the dream journal. Keep paper beside your bed. The moments just after waking are when the veil is thinnest. Even if you don't remember dreams clearly, write whatever comes. Often, messages slip through in symbols, feelings, single words that make sense later. Third, the release ritual. On the 40th day, or if you're past it, choose any significant day, write a letter to the departed. Tell them everything. Your anger at their leaving, your gratitude for their presence, your hopes for their journey. Then safely burn it, watching the smoke rise, carrying your words across dimensions. The transformation available to you now. Understanding the 40-day journey changes everything about how we live. Every goodbye becomes less final when you know it's temporary. Every relationship becomes more precious when you understand it spans eternity. Every moment becomes sacred when you realize you're creating memories that will be reviewed, understood, celebrated in that great life review. But most importantly, it removes the fear. Death loses its sting when you understand it's just a 40-day journey to fuller existence. Your loved ones aren't in some distant heaven. They're right here, just in a different frequency, like a radio station you can't quite tune into, but know is broadcasting. They want you to know. They're not missing out. They see your victories, your struggles, your growth. They're part of your journey still, just in a different way. Every time you choose love, they feel it. Every time you forgive, they celebrate. Every time you live fully, completely, courageously, you give them the greatest gift possible, the knowledge that their love continues to inspire growth. Your journey forward. As we close, I want you to sit with this truth. You are eternal. The people you love are eternal. These bodies, these brief physical experiences, are just temporary costumes in an infinite play. The 40 days after death aren't an ending. They're a transition between acts. Whether you're in those 40 days right now, approaching them with someone you love, or remembering them from the past, know this. The process Cayce described is happening. It's real, it's sacred, and understanding it transforms not just how we grieve, but how we live. Tonight, before you sleep, try this. Place your hand on your heart and feel it beating. That rhythm, it's temporary, but the consciousness feeling it, that's eternal. The love you carry, that transcends all dimensions. The connections you've made, they're forever. Live with that knowledge. Love with that certainty. And trust, always trust, that the 40-day journey is not about separation, but transformation. Not about loss, but expansion. Not about ending, but continuing in ways more beautiful than our physical minds can imagine. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell to join our community of seekers. Together, we're exploring the greatest mysteries of existence, one revelation at a time. Remember, 40 days is just the beginning. Love is eternal. Connection never dies. And every soul who has ever loved you is still with you, just 40 days ahead on the same journey you're walking now. Until next time, live with the awareness that death is just a doorway. Love with the knowledge that connection transcends all boundaries. And know, really know, that the greatest journey isn't the one that begins after death, but the one you're on right now, creating the love that will echo through eternity. The 40 days pass, but what they reveal lasts forever, and that changes everything.